Welcome back to Quick Chat in a Cadillac Season 2. My name is SG. I like to explore the simplicity of complexity if you don't know. This is my show where I break it down for you both real and quick. Season 2 is now available, so head on over to my YouTube, SG space Bubba space K. You can find full episodes in order of title, episode number, and season if you check the playlist. So go watch them, it'll help you get your life right. Alright. The seasons is changing. Everybody knows, right? It's getting close to the equinox and all that shit. But let me tell you something. When I talk about shit on here, when I go through and I break things down for y'all, it's because I'm actively going through it or I've been through it in the past. A lot more times it's the latter. And I'll tell you what, that just means it's more authentic to you. And right now what I'm experiencing is a change of seasons. In fact, I've been experiencing a change of the seasons for the past long time. And let me tell you how it shakes out. When your life is going through a major change of the seasons, okay, it doesn't have to actually align with the seasons as we know them, but there's metaphors behind it. So we start at fall. We don't start at winter. We don't start at spring. We start at fall. You see, because fall is when everything comes crumbling down. That's when things return to the earth to fertilize the soil so that new things may grow. But in fall, everything comes apart. The leaves come off the trees sometimes die. They return to the earth. The plants, all that shit, return to the earth to fertilize the soil for new growth. And that's what happened in my life. Everything came crashing, tumbling down. It came tumbling down in the fall time for me. All right, because there was new things that needed to grow, but it ain't no space to grow where the old shit was still at. So it had to go. It had to die. And then comes winter. Winter is a stage where you're forced into self-reflection. You understand? Because it's colder outside. There's more isolation just in general. People are more isolated during the wintertime by nature, at least in comparison to some of the other seasons. Because it's colder, you're forced to go inwards to reflect. And when you have the figurative meaning or the figurative season of winter within your life, that's a period of self-reflection. It's sitting with yourself, understanding what it's like on the inside. Not so much on the outside. You're forced to focus on the eternal, and all that shit that was broken down now gets returned because all the snow and the ice that packs it into the earth and melts it in, that's what really secures the fertilization for spring. And then springtime rolls around. Springtime, the sun starts to shine a little more. You still get some rain. You definitely still get some rain to, give some moisture to the earth and shit like that. But you start to see your life starts to bloom. It's young. It's premature. There might be some leaves on some of the trees. You might see a flower every now and then that you get to pick, or a fruit that might be ripe enough to pick, but maybe not. You can see the evidence, you just don't get to partake, and that's what brings us to summer. You see, the summer season in your life is the moment where you actually do get to, especially at the beginning, you start to pick the fruits. You start to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You understand? You get to spend some time in the sunshine. With the sun's out, guns out. Sun's out, titties out. I don't know. Whatever may apply to you. But you get to spend some time in the sunshine, enjoying the fruits of your labor. Okay? So me going through these seasons changing, it's a lot that you got to understand during the process when it's you. But so for me going through these seasons changing, I was just surprised. And let me tell you why. I was surprised because how quickly and how slowly it was happening. Because on a minor scale, day-to-day things, it looks very similar. It looks very repetitive, right? Putting in the work, taking the steps, having the discipline, it looks very repetitive. It almost looks as if it's stagnancy. But it's new things to try. It's new things to do. So every day, instead of substituting, every day I'm like, okay, let me take one more step forward and another step forward on top of that. So, for example, if Monday you took one step forward, Tuesday you take 2 steps forward, Wednesday you take 3 steps forward and 1 step back, Thursday you take 3 steps forward. You see what I'm saying? And that's a true model of what progress is supposed to look like. And now, after all these days, all these weeks, all these months of me taking these steps, things are starting to change. But if I'm looking at it day to day, I only see yesterday or tomorrow or today, or if I'm living solely in the present, it looks like a lot less momentum has been made. It looks like a lot less progress has been made. And that's what I noticed when I look at it from a larger scale, a larger perspective and I take a step back and remove myself and look at how the seasons have changed for me, how quickly it has happened is hitting me as just as hard now. Because during the actual process of the seasons changing, especially during winter and fall, man, that shit feels painstaking. It feels slow. Sometimes it'll have you questioning why you're even taking the steps in the first place. Why are you even participating in this process? But then once you get to spring and you start to see shit bloom, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I could pick up a little bit of steam. Looks like things is starting to come together. And then when you hit summertime, everything that happened, all the changes that you made or are having to make or will make, it start hitting you. And now you got to process it. Because now you're looking at all these beautiful fruits and trees and all this labor and work that you've put in. And while you could see the beauty of the picture, there is that duality. There is that portion of you that drifts to a land where that wasn't there. It drifts to the version of you before that fall time hit. It drifts to the moments where you're sitting in winter, sitting in winter wondering what the fuck was going to happen. Why the fuck am I in this position? How am I going to go forwards from here? And as much as people would say, like, oh yeah, when I was down, when I wasn't doing so hot, I remember those times and I did not enjoy it. There is a little bit of, you'll miss it a little bit, right? You miss the moments where you knew you were at your lowest and you had to come out on the other side. You'll miss the moments where there was people around you supporting you and helping you throughout your journey. You'll miss the moments where when you look back and see like the hunger that you had. You'll miss the moments where you look back and you see the motivation that you had, and maybe that there was a lack of a reason for you to have that motivation, it would seem. But you still had it. And so it could get emotional. When your life is changing, when the seasons of your life are changing, sometimes what we forget to grieve the season that changed. And I mean, I don't know if I've talked about grief yet. Maybe that's a story for another day, but grief is a very important part of life, and properly grieving things is something that will actually allow you to move forward. When you don't, you hold on to them much too long. And so as I sit where I sit today in whatever phase, whatever season I'm in, and I'm starting to grieve and look back at the things that more or less brought me here, that have developed me to this point, though I recognize I have much more development to undertake. Yes, I understand that. But it brings a tear to my eye, man. It brings a tear to my eye. I feel like a soft-ass nickel. But for real, all jokes aside, it brings a tear to my eye because I'm thinking about it. It's just a beautiful thing. If you take a step back, you zoom out from the day-to-day process that seems very repetitive. Lots of discipline. Even if you're undertaking new things, the journey of making progress is long and arduous, so you could only take it step by step. But when you zoom out prospectively and you see what you were, what you did to be who you are now, and what you will become, yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna bring some emotion. It's like when you're an artist and you win your first Grammy. How many artists out there start, especially if they really work for it, it brings tears to their eyes to see where they came from and what they've gone through and now where they're at on the Grammy stage. Even though the Grammys don't mean as much nowadays, we will talk about that at a completely different time on a completely different show. But you get the example and what it means, right? So if you needed permission, which you probably don't, but I needed permission and I had to grant it to myself, it's okay to grieve those moments. It's okay to grieve those changes. Don't get lost in the sauce now. I'm not telling you to revert back to old versions of yourself because you're fantasizing about the things that you went through. But when the seasons change, sometimes it's okay to be sad about the plants that died. Sometimes it's equally okay to be excited about the plants that are growing now. But all of that is part of the process and part of being human. That's all I got to say. Peace.